Hello everybody, it's Adam from LUCIDPIXUL, and I decided I could not hold this off. Just today, freshly released, brand new on the market is The Art of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now you'll notice it's still in a plastic wrap. Not only is it still in a plastic wrap, it's still cold. I literally just took this out of the box. It was just delivered. This is a brand new release, just released today, at least at the time of this review. So I thought, let's give you a first impressions type of review, very similar to what I did with the Ghost of Tsushima. Okay. Now, Ghost of Tsushima, just as a quick comparison, just in terms of book presentation, comes in a sleeve and all that kind of stuff. This isn't quite the same situation, but it doesn't mean that it's any less a significant experience. So I'm going to very carefully try to take this plastic wrap off. There you go. This is a very nice book too, I might add. Dark Horse. You recognize a lot of video game books are very often by Dark Horse. I know from having an entire library of books from Dark Horse, it is very beautifully put together. Nice little pamphlet. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I just recorded earlier today The Art of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which was produced by a company here in Montreal that I love very dearly, Eidos Montreal. So another high five to my homegirls and homeboys. But so is this one. Yes, Montreal is a very popular city for video game development. This was produced by Ubisoft, one of the main hubs being, of course, in Montreal as well. So it's been a very proud week for me as far as video game production is concerned, as far as book reviews are concerned. I'm going to give you a very first impression of this book. So let's crack it open. You're going to hear all the creaking and cracking. And right off the bat, I'm getting a very similar impression as I did for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. One of my favorite books of all time. You can check it out right here, the review. If you haven't played it, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't played it. What I'm presented with here, which you'll notice is hand-painted. Or at least there is, I can see some slight remnants of photo elements in here. And I'm sure a lot of photo elements were used to kind of speed up the process. But there's a lot of hand painting going on here. Or at least it's been heavily painted over. Not too dissimilar from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but this feels even more hand-painted. As for this illustration over here. Now, right off the bat, I don't own this yet. The reason I don't own it yet, damn, that's beautiful. Actually goes with my shirt, come to think of it. I'll get my shirt in the shot so you can see the colors together. I haven't played it yet because I refuse to play it until I get my PlayStation 5. Which, thanks to scalpers, you can read what finger I've got up behind here. Thanks to scalpers, I can't get my bloody hands on anything. I've yet to get an RTX 3080 graphic card. I've got an entirely new computer with an old graphic card in it. And I also can't get my hands on a PS5 because they're gone in 2 seconds and there's no sign of them coming back. But I'm waiting to get this. I want this to be one of the launch titles I'm going to get for the PS5. I could very easily get it for the PC, but this is really, I love the controls on the PlayStation for that kind of thing. But I'm really digging the beautiful colors and artistry. Actually, it's funny because I just watched Brave with my kids the other day. And there's all these beautiful, deep, colorful, rich Celtic colors, which I'm really loving here. And again, you can see some use of photo bashing in here, but again, Ubisoft, they just have this they have some of the most gifted artists out there. I'm not just saying that because I'm not just gushing because this is it's a Montreal studio, but just because I love the work that they produce, and this is no exception. Not only that, but just flipping through these different pages, look at the beautiful variety of colors. The warm tones on the front page with the nice teals, followed by the rich teal colors. And now we're transitioning into blues. And now those cool... So the actual layout of this book was really nicely done as well. Here we have Raphael Lacoste, Montreal, Canada. There we go. Oh, I love seeing that. I love seeing the word Montreal, June 2020. That makes me happy. Wow. I can't wait to play this game. It's funny because one of the things I will say, one of the things I commended the original Assassin's Creed Odyssey for having is some of the most polished controls imaginable. Just polished every single square inch of that humongous map. The controls, the interactivity, the combat was just so polished. It's such a pure game experience. And as much as I adore the artistry of Ghosts of Tsushima, because I followed Ghosts of Tsushima after Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the first thing that kind of hit me and made me go, ugh, is the controls were not quite as refined. Although the game is amazingly fun, don't get me wrong there, but it doesn't quite have that polish that the Assassin's Creed series has, that I really felt it, and I can't wait to get my hands on this title. I'm just looking at here's the thing too about the design, is how faithful, and I said this about Odyssey as well, how faithful they are to this historical source. The true history of Vikings, not this Hollywoodized barbarian type of history. The same thing with Greece. It wasn't this overly flamboyant commercial interpretation of Greek history. It was true Greek history. And even Greek historians attested to the fact that they commended Ubisoft for the efforts they put into studying the historical material. And this is very much the same case, albeit, it's a video game, the stylized weapons and all that kind of fun stuff. Look at the beautiful designs here. This feels very Dark Soulsian, actually. They really stayed faithful, and it's in a sense, it's a studio that is educating you historically in the context of a video game, which is kind of a smart way of going about it. I wish Ubisoft wrote my high school history material. I probably would have gotten better in history. These beautiful armor designs, the little Assassin's Creed emblem on it. Just to remind you, because you get so transported into these different worlds when you get brought back into the Matrix side of things, the whole construct of it, where you're playing with this duality between modern day and history, that you're actually playing in a simulation, so to speak. It can be a bit of a jarring experience. So that little reminder, having that little Assassin's Creed emblem kind of reminds you every now and then not to be surprised when you're brought back into the world of the real. I don't know if they did this in Valhalla, but one of the things they did in Assassin's Creed Odyssey was they made a lot of Montreal references as well in it, which I thought was kind of cool. You could have these little Montreal Easter eggs throughout the kind of the modern day office room that the main characters were playing in. This is interesting too. Here's a nice design, or at least, a design lesson for artists out there. If you look at these brushstrokes, let me zoom in so you can see these brushstrokes. There is a loose use of airbrush and hard edge pencil with some photo antlers in there, painted over with the chain brush. You can very easily see how quick the thought process was. Yet, even though this isn't polished and rendered, we're not looking at a Bouguereau painting over here. That, in looking at this, you realize that the focus of the artist was color, form, design, the elements of design and texture, and that was the main focus of the artist. It wasn't about polish or refinement or any of those things. And as a result, it creates for a very lovely piece of artwork. The statement is made. It's just the polish that isn't there. But the statement, the emphasis was on the design, not on the rendering, which is the meat and potatoes of any piece of artwork. So take this as a learning lesson, how much you can enjoy this by focusing on those fundamentals of design. You can create something that's very strong like this without investing days and weeks into rendering. Same thing over here. Oh, that's lovely. This makes me think a lot of the elf king in The Hobbit. I keep forgetting his name. One of my favorite characters of all time. You can check out the review right here as well. Yes, I plug my old books because I do a lot of book reviews. The braid designs, the different haircuts, in a way that doesn't look cringy. Like Skyrim. I was like, ugh, can I have one race of characters that aren't butt ugly? I'm not knocking on Skyrim. I love Skyrim, but you get the idea. They're not ugly. These actually every one of them has a nice aesthetic design. The hairstyles were all thought out nicely. Here's a good tip. One of my friends is an esthetician, and she lent me her book on aesthetics, on hair design, and I learned all about how facial design fits the hair, fits the shoulders, like your hairstyle should match the body, not just the head, right? And I can see a little bit of that sensitivity in the designs over here. Albeit a hairdresser or esthetician might look at that and go, I wouldn't quite go with that cut for that face shape. Look at these beautiful designs though. Again, referencing Ghost of Tsushima. Accent colors. Very neutral palette with a little accent of purple. That little bit of elegance. Kind of how Frodo in Lord of the Rings has a little foulard, a little silk scarf that shows a little bit more upper class. Oh, lovely little... Look at how brave these are. We're talking Vikings here. You'd think it would be all brutish, all the leathers and the metals and the woods and the... No, look at these beautiful, elegant colors. There's artistry and beautiful colored twines involved in this. There's a bold use of color in these designs. You got to commend that. And integrating that into a character that's otherwise considered kind of a hardcore warrior. Whew. That beautiful. This is making me want to play this game like serious. Again, a mix of media, airbrush, hard brush, photo plastered on top. Very quick, very design focused. I love this stuff. Sigurd Randvi. Oh, we're going through characters, main characters. Valka. Now, okay, I don't know the game. Let me see if I can just flip through these and get an idea of these characters. Very noble. Kind of makes me think about a little bit of Xerxes from 300. Kind of a little bit of the gold chains. Less practical, more designerly to show a little bit more nobility. Here is more practical hair tied up with some kind of rings in it as a cultural reference. Otherwise practical armor that he could technically fight in to a certain degree. So we can get my page. Again, warrior based, little emblems of his conquests, beasts that he's slain and converted into armor, natural hides for leather. So we get the feeling that it's more of a traveler's garb. It's not fantasy armor in the sense that this is impractical, that this is practical armor meant for comfort and flexibility. A little bit more armor with that little bit of the little shawl of the lion. I love this design with a little accent of red in there. Again, very raw materials. If you compare it to what we saw before with all the gold chains and the flamboyancy of the designs, more aristocratic. Here we're getting something a little bit more wild, a little bit more natural. Here, gorgeous. Sigurd Randvi, lovely use of accent color in the purple. Makes me think of the Undercity tabard in World of Warcraft, my personal favorite. So Valka over here I can see is the sorceress character. I can definitely see she's got like the antlers, the staff, kind of more like raven hoofs and stuff like that. Very iconic by Pierre Ravenot, the concept artist. The Valka's secret, a bit of a fashionista, yes. A little bit of vanity in there. And I love the low-cut V with the pale skin, almost giving her a bit of an undeadish look with the pinker tones in the face. Look at these beautiful designs. A mix and match of different things, but the heavy density of textures shows me that he probably got a photograph of some like merchant who was selling a bunch of like a bunch of tapestries hung on a wall, and he just copy and pasted that into the design and turned that into a design. Tell me that's not clever, but a beautiful balance of deep warms and cools to create that nice contrast with a little bit of a moonlight type of thing to give it a bit of a spooky moonlit feel. This is gorgeous. Huh, I really like that. So far, that's probably one of my favorite things, the hidden face. I always love hidden faces. One of the reasons I'm such a Dark Souls fan. Plugging my book, Dark Souls, right up here. Go check it out. Now we get into Nordway. I'm seeing this for the first time with you. This isn't a pre-read piece. I literally just got this today. Pages still haven't completely thawed. Beautiful and forgiving land. The cool landscapes, the winter landscapes, skins, walrus tusks, fatty meals, pine trees, wind-swept mountain peaks. Lovely. This is pulling some of my Canadian heartstrings right now. We actually just got our first real snowfall today, albeit it's going to warm up, but the temperature dropped to -4 degrees Celsius, and I was driving my kids to school today with whipping snow. It's lovely at the beginning. After about 3 months of that, you're like, after Christmas passes, I'm like, screw winter. I'm waiting for spring at that point. Look at these beautiful sketches, landscape sketches. Just get an idea of all the little huts, the graphic design, the graphic shapes Horizon Zero Dawn. Check that. Another plug. I think I have a maximum of 5 plugs. I use them up very quickly. All of the way the rooftops and the shapes, the iconic shapes of the buildings let you know exactly which culture you're dealing with as you're approaching them. Oh, okay. This to me, I'm all about light and mood. And look at how, I mean, these are all lovely pieces from a design perspective. And I love that kind of overcast, rich blue atmospheric light shining down. But look at the power of directing the eye using light. It's beautiful blue overlay with these warm shifts of light. These warm shifts of light, albeit, are probably very pure white if you were to sample them, but look like they have this yellowish warm glow juxtaposed against these deep teals and purples. Lovely little warm dash of light that pulls your eyes through the middle and vignettes the rest of the piece with a little peek through the clouds. Very Michael Kucha. Michael Kucha will always have some peek through shining through the clouds that it's overlapped by a foreground character. So you have let's say my hand in the foreground overlapping that light in the background like that. You see how it's creating this nice sense of depth to see that light passing behind something that's close to the eye. So it creates this immediate sense of depth in the piece. I love that little peak. Bouguereau does that as well. Look at Bouguereau's paintings. He'll always have a dark backdrop, a fair figure with bright light, with a little peek through. Something my mother taught me about Bouguereau when I was young. So I'm going to leave it at this. My book reviews are I'm not going to flip through and give you an entire preview of the book. This is a teaser. I want to make you go out and buy the book. I want you to spend your money on it to support the artists and the directors and the producers and everybody who goes behind making these absolute gorgeous masterpieces. My cup runneth over that my fellow beloved Montrealers are behind such a fabulous, one of the top experiences as far as gaming is concerned, in my humble and unbiased opinion, of course. And of course, if you want to go and check it out for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get a copy of this book for yourself. It's not affiliated. I just want you to blow your hard-earned cash on these fantastic people. All right. So thank you for joining me on this review, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.